Something that you also helped me a few months ago, or you explained to me, was that you can also insure your jewelry.
Yes.
Things like that. Those are insurance that you don't know that you can have in your company.
Yes. Yeah, and they don't take the time to explain too, right? You need to know, okay, what's my limit on, water damage, sewer backup, seepage, what's my limit on, my contents, the reconstruction of the property.
And yeah, I mean, it's something that you gotta be careful with.
Yeah.
You gotta have like a good person that's gonna help you with this. It's gonna help you understand all the little small lines.
Yes, and it's important. It's important to disclose it. It's important to let them know, listen, I'm buying this. I'm planning on doing this.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Financial GPS. I'm here with my co-host, my husband David, and today we're gonna talk about everything that has to do with insurance. So home insurance, car insurance, personal insurance, life insurance, everything insurance. And for that we have our special guest today. It's a friend of ours, Diana. She works as a sales representative, insurance sales representative. Hi Diana, how are you?
So Daniela, I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. Really, it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much for being here with us and spending some time with us. So Diana, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm a insurance sales representative. I've been in the industry for about 18 years. I work under the umbrella of Desjardins, and here servicing majority of the Hispanic community, but also English-speaking community.
Okay,
Nice.
good. Yeah, and I have dealt with you before. Like, you helped me up with my clients and also my own insurance. And I see that you offer a lot of information out there, a lot of options for clients, and something that I want people to know is exactly what do you offer.
Yeah, so our main product baseline is the auto insurance and the home insurance product lines, business insurance, commercial insurance. But we also offer the financial planning almost in financial coverages for, life insurance, disability, critical illness. So we take a look at the bigger picture within a household to manage what their insurance needs are and, what we can offer, the benefits that we can give them, trying to coverage as much as we can, to give them that peace of mind that, in the event something happens, there's coverage there for them and, they can rely on us.
Okay, perfect. Sometimes, especially immigrants, right? We don't know all this type of insurance that they're up there. It's new to us. So I think it's really important to get to know someone who can help them and guide them of what kind of insurance
Yes.
you can have. Something that happens to me a few years ago, I was playing soccer and I have a fracture and I didn't have disability. And I didn't know that exists until I got fractured.
Yes.
And then after that, of course, I have it now. But those are things that people don't know, right? Something that you also helped me a few months ago, or you explained to me, was that you can also insure your jewelry.
Yes.
Things like that. Those are insurance that you don't know that you can have in your company.
Yes. So, disability is something really common. Someone who's self-employed, if you're employed, you have your benefits, you have work benefits, and, you have some coverage there, right? But, what happens if the incident happens outside of work? What coverage do you have? How long are you going to be out of work because of the incident? It could be an injury, could be an illness. So those are things that you really need to talk to your insurance advisor to see, what coverages can be given to you and what you actually need aside from what you have at work. Of course, you have coverage through work, but you need to look outside your work coverage, because there's a lot of limitations within the, whatever benefits you have through work than what you can actually buy outside. And, through the home insurance and auto insurance, there's also a lot of coverages that a lot of people are not, really familiar with, and they really need to have their insurance advisor explain to them what the benefits are, how the auto insurance works, what coverages you have, in the event of a lawsuit after an accident, what happens with the liability coverage, who covers your legal fees and all of that those are things that we take a look at, and we explain to customers, coverage by coverage to let them know that, the coverage is there and how it works.
Yeah. I think the main point is that there's a lot of lack of knowledge.
Yes.
And it's important to have someone who can explain those insurance or all the options that you have for them, right?
Yes.
I think it's really important to know what are my options. Sometimes I buy something, right? I'll give you an example. My clients buy a house, right? To a builder. But what about, okay, if I go to a builder and they say, okay, I want to buy a house, you just show me this auction, and okay, I say, okay, I agree to that auction, and I'll buy the house. That's the house. But what about other options, like a walkout basement, what about having some improvements, like maybe a bigger lot? And those are things that, I would like someone to explain those things to me, right?
Yes.
In your case, if when I talk to you, you explain to me everything, like you paying this amount for this reason. And I think that's really important to people. They need to know exactly what they're paying for and what are the options up there.
Exactly. And sometimes, not the cheapest out there. It's not necessarily the greatest.
Yeah.
There's limitations on coverage. And you're not going to be able to find that out until you have a claim. And then you're going to have that disappointment that, you're not going to be covered because of this, because, you didn't, maintain your roof. You should have changed it 15 years ago, you didn't, and there's right? So there's a lot of things that go in between insurance that you really need to have that good relationship with who your insurance provider is, to know what coverages you have, to know what your legal obligation is to maintain your home, to let the insurance know what you're doing with the home, if you're going to be renting, if you're going to be renting just the basement, if you're going to be adding another kitchen in the basement. Those things need to be told to the insurance company so that the policies actually have the proper coverage. Exactly. So that in the event something happens, you're going to be paid.
So the main point, what I was trying to say before with the explanation of the house, is that for me, it's important to know my options, right? It's up to me if I agree to that price or no.
Yes.
But I want to know what are my options so I can make a wise decision. And if I'm going to pay more, I'll be covered. I don't mind that.
Exactly.
But sometimes people, they just say, okay, you're going to pay $100, but you're not covered. You're not.
Exactly. And they don't take the time to explain too, exactly. Right? You need to know, okay, what's my limit on, water damage, sewer backup, seepage, what's my limit on, my contents, the reconstruction of the property. There's a lot of numbers under the policies that need to be disclosed. And, you can take some things out, add floaters, like you said, the jewelry, those are things that can be added to the policy. It's not covered unless you disclose it, and unless you take that okay, depending on the jewelry amount that you need coverage for, which is common here for engagement rings that are worth $20,000, $30,000. That's not going to be covered by your regular policy. You need to add a floater. You need to have specific coverage for that. There's people who have collectibles. Those are items that have to be listed and that have to be applied as an additional floater so that they are covered in the event something happens.
That's nice to know. A lot of people don't know that, and they end up having a robbery or something. And then
exactly. And I'm sorry to tell you, your limit is $2,000 because that's the base limit on the base policy, right? You don't have any extra.
You don't have someone to explain that to you, and you don't ask because you don't know. Exactly. You're not the expert. You're waiting. If somebody's selling you something, you're waiting for that person to actually explain to you what it is that you're buying.
Yes.
Because they're the experts, right?
Exactly.
So sometimes you don't ask questions because you think that they are giving you all the knowledge, right? Everything that you need to know. And it's something that you got to be careful with. You got to have like a good person that's going to help you with this. It's going to help you understand all the little small lines.
Yes. And it's important. It's important to disclose it. It's important to let them know, listen, I'm buying this. I'm planning on doing this. I'm planning to renovate my home, make this upgrade. I'm planning to add a second floor to my bungalow. What do I need to do in my property?
Basement.
Exactly.
Some people finish their basements and they're under the idea that the insurance is going to automatically cover your basement. And then the basement floods and no, it's not covered. Exactly. And you have to pay for everything again.
Yeah. It's important. It's important. And, and that's when you realize you don't have the coverage when the claim happens.
Yeah, but that's too late.
Exactly. It's way too late.
You don't want to wait for that.
No. And so it's important. It's important to let the company know what your intentions are, what you want to do. There's companies that have certain limitations depending on what you're going to be doing. But at least that, okay, the company's not going to cover me if something happens. I better look for another company so that I'm covered, At least
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing wrong, with asking. If you're going to be leaving your property vacant, there's limitation on how long you can actually leave the property vacant for. Otherwise, there's not going to be coverage. There's, adjustments that the policies can have, and, you can do, you can just disclose everything so that that you're going to be okay at that time of claim.
Right.
Same thing with auto insurance. It's exactly the same thing. Whatever use you're actually, or what use you have for the vehicle, who's going to be driving the vehicle, the listed drivers, the household drivers, if there's, problems within the household of, driving records and all of that, they need to be disclosed so that the company tells you, okay, we're going to be able to cover you, or it's going to cost you an extra, $100, $50 to add this other person to your policy, but that they're going to be covered if something happens.
Right. Yeah, it's important.
Yeah.
So what are some options that you have when it comes to buying insurance, like for the clients? What are some options?
Right. So there's a lot of options, out there. And, we take a look first at the, picture of the auto and home. Could be auto and condominium or a tenant. You could be a tenant. You should have insurance as a tenant as well. But, we look at that package first. So first you take a look at what you're spending on your auto, what you're spending on your tenant, what coverages you have, what limitations you have, and what's your current situation. Aside from that, we look at also, do you have a business? Are you a business owner? Is your business insured? Do you need coverage for your business? Do you need coverage for, your personal disability, critical illness or life insurance? If you don't have any benefits through work, you should be looking at that to cover your family as well. So we take a look at the bigger picture on the insurance side to make sure that there's coverage for everything they need in the event they have something.
So when they buy everything through you, to the same company,
yes,
they'll be saving money?
Yes. So the companies there's certain lines that have a specific discount, which, for example, the auto and the home insurance or tenant insurance, they both have a bundle discount. When you have a life insurance policies or personal benefits policies don't have discounts when you have the auto, but the company does look at what you have in the book of business or as a household insured to see if they can insure your business. So for example, I don't know, you have a business that the company doesn't necessarily insure or doesn't like the risk that they're taking with the business that you have, but because you're an existing customer and you have certain lines of business already with the company, they're willing to make exceptions to insure you, right? So those are things that the companies do look at. They look at the loyalty as well. How long you've been with the company, regardless of what product you have, which could, be a benefit to you on the auto side or the home side or the business side. So, there's a lot of benefits to having everything in, one place that can offer it. Of course, there's companies that don't offer everything, and you do have to look outside of the company because, they don't do it. Like commercial, we do, aside from the actual business, we do also insure commercial vehicles. So, there's companies that have limitations. They only do personal vehicles. They don't have anything to do with commercial vehicles. So then they have to shop around. But it's important to know what you're going to be doing with the car. A lot of people now, they're, becoming self-employed. They're, running their own business, and they don't know, that if they're doing deliveries, they may not be covered, or they have to change their policy to a commercial policy to be able to be covered properly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something, the bundles, I think that's important. That's where you save money, right?
Yes.
That's where you save a lot of money. And something that I see every year when it comes to a renewal, I see prices keep going up. They go up 100%. So I think it's important for people before the due date for the renewal to have options, right? Talk to you and see if you can offer something better, or who knows, maybe cheaper.
Yes.
But there's options out there, and maybe if they can do a bundle, you can offer something better for them.
Yes, and you get your renewal 60 days before your renewal date. So, you have enough time to shop around, to take a look at, what you have. If it's not the current company that you have, then it's not going to take the time, to explain to you. You can have someone else explain it, and that's the time to take to quote around to see what other lines of businesses you may not know you need and you actually do need. For example, like I said, the business insurance is one of the biggest ones. So it's important to review everything, and it's around that 60 day mark where you should start looking at other companies or just quote around. You can you can do that within Ontario. There's lots of companies, and that's why they send you the renewal ahead of time. And you can also, I always encourage people to call their own insurance company and ask them, why is my policy going up in price? Did they find a ticket? Is there an accident that now it's affecting me? Is there coverage? For example, there's a lot of companies that have protection for the depreciation. That coverage increases every year because the vehicle is getting older, but the company has that promise to technically pay for that vehicle as if it was brand new. So that coverage costs, and it increases every year. A lot of people don't know that, they're paying for that coverage, and, they can technically remove it, and that will save them some money, right? So it's, things like that you should really review to make sure that you have.
And sometimes I see even myself, right? But I like to look at everything lately. When we receive a renewal, we don't ask questions. Like let's say I get a renewal, instead of calling you and say, what, can we go over and see what my options, if something has changed?
Yes.
We don't do that. We just sign, or we just forget about it. There's so many papers on the package that people don't even go through them.
Yes.
So I think it's important to call you, and especially I like to refer you to my clients, is because I know you will answer within 24 hours or send an email, and that's really important, because if you're paying for something, you need to get the proper advice.
Correct.
Right. So
and clear information, right?
Yes.
Because of what he's saying, there's so much paperwork, there's so much terminology that you don't know.
Yes.
That you need that person to help you understand what it is that they're talking about.
Yes. There's on renewals, for example, which is really common on home insurance, there's coverages that companies, because of the age of the home or because of the location now, it's a high risk area for flood, or, they need to add an exclusion because of the age of the home. They send that to you on the renewal notice. If you don't read it, you're not going to know, right? No. So it's important for you to know, or for you to read everything that you receive. And if you don't understand it, just, ask. You can call, exactly. and it's as simple as asking, what is this exclusion for? Why are they adding this to the property now? Or what is this extra, charge for the policy? What is it for, and what's my coverage, right? So it's important to review that. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So we're going to add your information to the video, and so they can contact you and get your advice, because I think it's really important to everyone to see their options and understand what they're paying for.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much, Diana, for being here with us. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and for taking the time.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it, and I'm here to help.
Thank you.
Well, this has been another episode of Financial GPS. Thank you for being with us today. We'll see you next time.